Good evening. The Toronto Raptors lose 139 to 98. What do you even say about this game? It's like you could talk about the broadcast, which I have some mixed feelings about the broadcast. Maybe we can get into that a little bit. The stadium, I definitely heard some, like, I don't know if it was full out booing, but it was like a groan, like a collective, like you could at the end of the game, like you could feel it. There was really loud Chris Boucher chants, which of course was not acknowledged on the broadcast because it's the broadcast, right? You have to be sports, very serious. Has Alvin ever just been like, hey, this isn't great? Or like, maybe this thing that they're doing isn't great, or this defensive strategy like isn't great, or this some like, has there ever been a moment? Has there ever been? Is he allowed? I don't know if he's allowed to. Like, I couldn't even pick a thumbnail for this fucking stupid game. I was trying to find like some JV Grady Dick picture because it looks like Jason or one of the Kelseys and Taylor Swift or whatever, kind of when they're side by side. Just mind blowing. I don't know, but and I want to give a special shout out. I think Emmanuel quickly played the worst defensive game I've maybe ever seen of any player. I've been watching the NBA since 1996. Wow. Wow. And just in general, I mean, I understand like sending two to Zion, but they were sending two to like Zeke Marshall on the perimeter. Um, I mean, people have brought it up in like the defense has fallen off of a cliff, um, which they're still like pretty, even with Scotty, the defense was falling off a cliff. Obviously not his fault, but I'm just saying like it's been the whole year. And I think I brought this up, and somebody else brought this up, that like I think like Pat Delaney is like the official defensive coach because Darko's a very like offensive coach. I think Pat Delaney is like the defensive coach. And I believe he's been the defensive coach for like the Wizards and some other really bad defensive teams. Which, yeah, it's personnel, but I think at some point you really have to ask some difficult questions about like, what is this team's defensive identity? What the fuck are they doing on defense? Why are you doubling random dudes on the perimeter, causing all type of like chaos and gambling? And it wasn't just one or two guys. Like, this was the strategy for like the first half. And then the second half, I'm going to be honest, I blacked out the entire second half. I couldn't tell you one thing that happened in the second half of this game. I was watching Heat clips. I was high as shit. I was drinking coffee. I was trying to find cool Pelican videos. I was trying to see if I could dress up as a Pelican. I was going through Twitter. Like, I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit. I did, I did write note. I did write notes for some reason, but wow, this really harkened back. This was like a throwback game to earlier in the year when they would regularly get blown out like this, when they would go down by like 25. This kind of had that feeling. No bright spots. I mean, I guess Javon Freeman Liberty, Darko remembered that he exists. I guess that's cool that because yeah, you have a lot of guys that are ahead of him, and he checks into the game. Raptors going to 15-5 run. He was like the only plus on the team for a little while. Completely kind of changed the vibes of a game that they were down by like 100 points to. That no one was enjoying this game except Matt and Alvin, which they love it, man. They love this. They either love this or they're being fucking so inauthentic it makes your stomach churn, which I have some like mixed feelings about, because like I was super depressed 2020 like, lockdowns and everything, and going through a tough time, and like the Raptors broadcast like was a shining like beacon when everything was like shit, and they were really excited about like the game or whatever. So I kind of have like mixed feelings. That's why I don't know if this is going to lead me to going on another detox. I famously went on a Sportsnet TSN detox / cleanse pretty recently, and I did feel sick and nauseous watching this game, and most of it was I'd say 50-50 broadcast and product. Like if you can't acknowledge that things aren't going well, I think you're losing trust. Like you're losing people, I think. Like I don't think that's a good strategy long term. Like and you know, I do have a background in marketing. I do know a little bit about marketing. I do know a tiny little bit about marketing. I think long tail, that's dumb. It's dumb. I think it's fucking stupid to be that like everything is great all the time. Everything is awesome. They're literally like a Tegan and Sarah song. Like everything is awesome when you work as a team. Everything is like, who is this for? Even the kids, like they had like, I got the in stadium, you know, the in feed. I pay a bunch of money so I can watch the in state, like the in whatever the fuck it's called, the stadium feed. I think these guys are getting some feed too behind me, and they fucking fed all night on the Raptors. But like even the kids in this game, like on the kid camera, there was like, it was only once they were on camera that they started to like jump and dance around. It was pretty fucking grim. So yeah, I'm the Pelicans Bally Sports broadcast is pretty tough, but I think we're really kind of getting into like a North Korea Scientology like realm with this broadcast. Like I don't think Leo was like this. Jack's not like this. I don't know if Alvin is actually allowed to say like a negative thing unless it's Randy Urban. Then he'll just fucking absolutely eviscerate him like Brandon Ingram on Jordan Wara, who did like a 720. He did like, oh man, he did like a Pascal Siakam spin on defense, but like spun the wrong way. It was amazing, incredible. Clearly this, you know, coaching staff is not at all looking at defense as in terms of like who's getting minutes, who's getting into the rotation. Defense is not and I know the defense has slipped, but like defense is not a priority for this coaching staff led by Darko. But I think Delaney's the big D, and my fuck, like, and I hate to say this, but I went back and watched like the Gary Trent Jr. on Halliburton thing, and like I'm making a video on it because there was a really funny moment, but it was kind of Gary got given a bunch of time. Yeah,
what did you think of your team's effort in fight, especially in the first half?
I thought we started the game pretty well,
yeah,
those first 6 minutes, and they called timeout. I think it was 23-17. We were able to make up a couple of shots there. We were trying our best to stay in front of Zion and protect the paint, and they caught fire. They caught fire there in at the three-point line with Herb Jones knocking down a couple of corner threes, and then obviously Murphy.
I don't know if
he got really hot as the game progressed. But start of the game, we had it when we start subbing, and when we went to our bench guys, it quickly went south from there.
Players are each on the floor. I could be wrong, but I believe Herb Jones is either like 1 or 2 for that corner. Like he's like right up.
Is there anything you can say to explain that other than shooting the ball really well?
They shot the ball really well tonight, and if they can shoot the ball like this every single night, probably they're going to win the championship. So
that was like
I believe that this is their season record tonight. And as I said, Brandon Ingram was 0 for 1 from the three-point line. CJ McCollum.
It was crazy. I think Darko was just on the show for a little bit. So that's why I also can't really talk about the broadcast, because like I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. But I'm not getting
season record.
What's the chat saying? We can hear the press conference in the audio. Yeah, that's on purpose. No, it's supposed to be kitschy or cute or whatever, but it's probably not. So yeah, Herb Jones, just no one has ever been that wide open from 3, and he was just splashing them. I was actually kind of shocked that like 5 made threes is his, like, I think his record or something. But yeah, it almost feels like a waste of time to even talk about this game, but we're here, you know. So start of the game, Savannah Hamilton said this was Kelly's first start. By the way, her mom still follows me on Twitter, so that's good. Haven't did anything too crazy on there yet, I guess. But didn't he start a couple games ago when Scotty was first out? I thought maybe I'm just like hallucinating. I thought him and Jakob both started. I might be hallucinating though. Really in the beginning, the game, it was really only Gary. He hit like 3 threes. He actually had a 3-on-1 and just like pulled up for 3 and hit it, which was like kind of funny. But the gambling really started early. Like just so many Zion Ingram layups and assists, and Raptors really slow in rotations, really gambly on the perimeter. And what was kind of like funny or embarrassing was I thought it was Bruce Brown, but then the broadcast said it was Garrett Temple because like he used to be a Pelican, but apparently he was like shit talking the Pelicans as they're up by like 140 points. So that was interesting. And then yeah, just so many Alvarado steals. Like Marshall got one, Herb got a couple. Raptors, I don't know if Jalen McDaniels was like running the practice, but like just point guard to shooting guard passes just being so easily telegraphed, just like super lazy. Pelicans go on an 18-4 run, and then they go on another 17-5 run, and that's the game basically. Like an 18-4 run, and then a few minutes later a 17-5 run, and there was just like zero chance of them ever coming back. Larry Nance tried to scam Kelly Olynyk on a couple calls. But yeah, you know, the stadium yelling for Boucher. Just kind of a wild game. Pelicans seem to kind of kill the Raptors, and a really good ball movement. They just like whip the ball around, create mismatches and advantages, and then it's usually a lot of like Zion and Ingram slashing and them, you know, either kind of getting a pretty easy layup because the Raptors defense rim protection was pretty non-existent, or kicking it out to someone who's wide open for 3 as the Raptors kind of scramble on the perimeter. And of course, you know, you miss a Jakob Hurtle. You know, Kelly's not really like a rim deterrent, so you didn't really have like a solid rim protector. And then the 3s that the Pelicans were getting were just like I could make those. That's how open they were. It was yeah. And then I mean the only kind of like bright spot, I guess, like the Gary start, and then other was like the JFL thing, which I think Just for Laughs filed for bankruptcy, so I guess JFL can like get the name officially. But yeah, Raptors go on a 15-5 run when he comes on, and he was actually guarding Ingram too. And, you know, no one's going to say that he, like, shut Ingram down or anything. But it's kind of trying to be someone just brought up Dennis Schroeder in the chat. I just checked the chat. Someone's saying the audio is still messed up. Is the audio good?
It's kind of
but yeah, Jordan Hawkins didn't get in until 9:34.
Someone just brought up Dennis Schroeder in the chat.
I guess they're just like so deep because he's been shooting the ball pretty well, but I mean they're really deep at the guard position. I was kind of wondering like if Grady would have gone to the Pelicans, what's
is the audio
his kind of
the audio good?
Trajectory be? You know, he's in a pretty good spot with the Raptors.
Jordan Hawkins didn't get in until 9:34
because
someone just brought up Dennis Schroeder in the chat.
I guess they're just like so deep because he's been. I'm trying to like talk about this game, but
pretty
honestly,
well. But I mean, they're really deep.
I don't feel like I have the
guard position. I was kind
of
wondering like
juice right now.
If Grady would have gone
the
to the
Raptors,
Pelicans,
I feel like Alvin. I don't really.
Is the audio
kind of my
trajectory be? You know.
Did you guys hear booze at the end? Like I thought I heard. I don't know if it was
like
a full on. I think a lot of the stadium had left.
9:34.
But it was like a. How would you describe the ending? The noise at the end of the game. Like it was. It was like. I'm trying to talk about this game. was like
pretty wild, but I thought
the
really
Boucher chants were cool. The Boucher chants were
kind of wondering, like,
that's why
if Grady would have gone to the Raptors. I feel like Alex.
That was like one of the best moments of this trajectory. Probably.
Did you guys hear Boucher at the end? Like, I thought I heard.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I just where I'm at right now. It was like how would you describe the ending? The noise. It was
I don't even. I'm trying to talk about.
I just want to I thought like, hey, this is Boucher chants were good. Or like maybe they should change this or try this, or like this doesn't seem like it works out. That was like it's just like the best moments of this trajectory. Literally every play is the Chris Paul.
Did you guys hear Boucher at the end? Like, I thought I heard.
And it's funny where I'm at right now. It was like when you're trying to like make Raptors content, you kind of have to at least try to watch like, all the games. I just want to like, hey, this like accumulate that much positivity. I don't know, just try this. Or like this doesn't feel like it works out. I think I might need to either go back to Valley Sports for a little bit, or just listen to like the stadium crowd noise.
Did you guys hear Boucher?
Like, I thought I heard. It's funny. Someone asked, is there any positives from this cap? I guess like trying to like make Raptors content, you kind of have to at least try. Not gonna like all the games. I just want to like, hey, this change that much positivity. I don't know, just try this. Not gonna change the game. Like it works out. But it's cool, it's cool to see Darko kind of remember that he's there. He Matt called him Liberty Freeman right out of the gate, which Devlin's been like, we have the Akodu, which was still my favorite, but there's been a lot of like little kind of name mishaps, but yeah, Javon Freeman Liberty, that's your I think Ramsey had a bucket there at the end. I know the first time he got the ball, he kind of broke his own ankles. It's never a great look. But yeah, Freeman Liberty only ends up a -5 in 18 minutes, which is pretty incredible. When you lose by 41 points. And he was in there for like a decent stretch. That wasn't just garbage time minutes. And you compare it to like a DJ Carton, like a -18 or a Grady who -35 for Grady. Definitely the worst Grady game we've seen, and 27 minutes, 1 for 7 from the field, 2 points. And I blame myself for this because I declared Grady safe from the Maple Leafs. He posed with a Maple Leafs jersey the other day, and I was like really worried that because Michael Jordan could wear a Maple Leafs jersey and like it's over. LeBron would be the greatest player of all time if MJ even like thought about throwing on who the fuck was on the Leafs back then? Darcy Tucker or something. Ty Domi. Like if that even like touched his skin, LeBron would be the undisputed GOAT. But Grady posed with a Maple Leafs jersey, and I said last game we are, at least we know that Grady is immune to the most powerful curse, maybe in the world, in sports for sure, but maybe in the world. But I kind of blame myself. I got a little bit excited, jumped to conclusions a little too quickly, and I'm not saying I'm retracting the statement, but I'll put myself. Am I centered here on this Pelican? What do you guys think of this Pelican? There's 2 of them. Holy shit. So yeah, I take some responsibility for this. You can blame me for this. 0 for 5 from 3 tonight too, which sucks because I don't know. I mean, 40% is like just a whatever number. It's a nice whole number, but kind of wanted Grady to get to 40%. Just I don't know. I have no reason. My parents met in the town that Kelly Olynyk played high school basketball in, so you guys can ask me questions about that if you want. Anybody complaining about the Pelicans? Are there too many Pelicans on the screen? but yeah, yeah. So you guys, if you guys missed it, we had Darko on the show earlier. I've been getting lots of coaches on these post game shows. We had Rick Carlisle, Darko has been on. If you guys missed that, he was just on the show 12 minutes ago, and then I think also 7 minutes ago. The audio from Scotiabank, it cuts in and out. It's a Rogers company, so you can blame them. By the way, big news, WNBA team looks like it's coming to Toronto. I mean, it's definitely going to be more entertaining than the Blue Jays. Where they got IKF and Dalton Varsho. Go to the WNBA games. And it looks like Larry T kind of pull a little move with the Kilmer group, which I don't know, is Val Kilmer involved in this? Talking about Heat. Just go watch Heat. Just like, why are people? There's no point in watching this game. I was just watching clips from Heat. I made a Boucher Heat Darko little thing on Twitter. I put that out. But yeah, just go watch Heat. Like, what is this? Go, I try to bring Darko on here. Try to create some havoc with the audio, but there's really, got the Pelicans going. We can get more Pelicans. We can get more Pelicans for you guys. Fly Pelican. Al Pacino, also in Heat. What a difference in character, by the way. Going from, 13-year difference. 13 years later, going from Scarface to Heat. So I guess there was a little bit of a in between, but it's quite a transition. Speaking of transitions, again, I don't know if I said this already, but it did feel like Jalen McDaniels was coaching this game, because last time the Raptors played the Pelicans, of course, which was also a blowout, and top 5 worst loss of the year. This is in the top. Where does this rank in the losses for you? I think the defense was so bad. Like, I don't really notice defense that much. But I'll let you guys in on a little secret. I'm really stupid, so I don't really notice things like defense all that much. And if we're being honest, I probably would have got a little bit more playing time in high school if my defense was a little bit better. And watching the tape back, it's a little embarrassing. So in a way, I noticed bad defense more than good defense, I guess, because it's like relatable. And I could really relate to what the Raptors were doing tonight, because that was maybe the worst defensive effort of the year. If just go back and watch, just mind blowing stuff. Like, do you need to double CJ McCollum? Do you need to double Zeke? Is it Najee Marshall or Zeke Marshall? One of the Marshall brothers. Marshalls. Go shop at go. Do you need to double? I bought it at Ross. Like, what the fuck is going on here? What was that? And then it's just like Gary and Grady and Quickly just bolting around the perimeter like fucking madmen, while Herb Jones and Trey Murphy have like 87 feet of court in front of them to shoot. And then meanwhile, you have the Pelicans picking guys up 3/4 court. You have Jose Alvarado on the ground like a fucking Cocker Spaniel in the corner, like waiting for the inbound to come. Like, two completely different. And obviously the talent, there's already a talent disparity even with Scotty in the lineup. So you take Scotty out of the lineup. Obviously, you can't expect to win a game like this. You can't really be upset with the loss, but that I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna need some time. But I just hope that this is like the most chaotic post-game show. Let's make this the most chaotic post-game show so far. This is just gonna be an absolute train wreck. We're already off to a pretty good start here. Maybe this will be a 5-hour one, and we'll just watch Scarface, the whole thing front. Or would you guys rather watch Scarface or Heat? I have Heat on my computer. That would be a great way to get my the Raptor Moments channel to just like shut down forever. Is just do a full like have like 2 hours of these fucking Pelicans eating, and then have what's Heat 3 hours. Jim Leahy says good movie, good taste. Jim Leahy would definitely like Heat. Jim Leahy, would Jim Leahy have worked in Heat? Like, what? Because Buffalo Bill is one of the cops, by the way. Like the actor who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, he was originally supposed to be the guy who played Waingro in Heat, but he was like, I don't want to be typecast as the serial killer, so he got by fucking the Kilmer group in the shootout scene. So, but yeah, Jim Leahy showing up to the bank robbery shootout downtown LA, just drunk as fuck. He would have shot the kid instead of Michael Chironi. Chironi, Cheesy, Cheeto. I don't know what the fuck his last name is. Michael. He would, yeah. This is just going to be chaotic. Turn this off right now. That goose is memorized by the orange hat, man. There's an oil pipeline humming in the background, says somebody. Maybe that's just my fan. Let's turn the fan off. Or no, the fan's already off. Do we even want to look at the box score? Like, do we even want to? It's just like it's like Better Call Saul with the morgue when they have sex with the dead body. Do we want to open up the morgue? Do we want to look at this thing? Zion Williamson plus 28. That's probably means they won. I mean, they shot 49 threes. This was like the fucking all-star game. And I think 33 of them were probably wide open. Raptors also shoot 44 threes. Only difference is the Pelicans 49% from 3, 24 being 3. And Trey Murphy is 10 for 14 from 3, and Herb Jones is 5 for 8. And those are the two guys that were the biggest recipients of the Ingram Zion mismatches. And the rotations, I mean everybody played bad, but I think there were some plays of Quickly where it's just like, you do know what defense is like as a concept. Like, you're there to not necessarily stop the other team. You can't ever. It's like in Better Call Saul, when he's like $700. I only got $700. There's 3 of them. They had sex with the head, and she's like, they're going to jail. And he's like, well, that's not my problem. They had sex with the head. Where am I going with this? Yeah, I lost my train of thought. CJ McCollum, he wasn't like super noticeable tonight. He was only 3 for 9 from 3, but it was and a lot of Trey. This is how good the Raptors bench. I can't believe I lost that metaphor. That was like very Alvin-ish. That was going to be a good one. Anyways, it'll come back to me probably. This retention trick. Stay tuned. This is how great the Raptors bench was tonight. Trey Murphy, who came off the bench, primarily played against the Raptors bench, plus 44. Plus 44. You don't see that too often. You don't see a 40 burger on the plus. 34 points plus 44. The only minus that's close to that is to balance that out is Grady's minus 35, but which is that's tough. But yeah, plus 44. Also just 38 assists for the Pelicans, 21 for the Raptors. So like the defense was horrible, and then on offense, just like not a ton of ball movement. I thought RJ Barrett had, 86 bad passes in this game. Only 3 turnovers. Only 11 turnovers for the Raptors? No. They're fucking up these turnovers, man. There's no way the Raptors had 11 turnovers tonight. There's zero chance. I know this has been a talked about thing with like assists, like how scorekeepers can kind of give assists to people sometimes, and that doesn't happen. I need a fact check on this. You're telling me the Pelicans had more turnovers than the Raptors tonight? I'm sorry. No. I need or they tied for turnovers. Sorry, 11-11. There's no way that they had the same amount of turnovers. 11 turnovers. There was at least 3 inbounds passes that were intercepted. There was at least 3 point guard to shooting guard passes that were intercepted. I'm sure there was a couple offensive fouls. There's no chance there was 11. I mean, fuck off with 11 turnovers. RJ did have 3 of them. Porter did have 3 of them. And yeah, the only guy off the bench who gave you, can you say Jordan Nwora gave you anything when he did a double Pascal spin the wrong way on defense? Minus 32 from Nwora. I mean, he gave you 9 points. If everybody gave you 9 points, you would have won this game, I think. Is my math good enough for that? Let's see. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What's 12 times 9? 12. Oops, wrong window. 12 times 9, because I can't do math. 108. You wouldn't have won the game, but you would have gotten 10 more points than you would have got. So shouts to him for getting 9 points. But yeah, really the only guy off the bench who was like cracking was Freeman Liberty, and he kind of came on after the game he came on in the third. 9:50 finally 9:54 into the third quarter. You're down by about 86, and you're just like, JFL, Just for Laughs was bankrupted today, so it's really your day. This is dedicated to you. You're going to get a look here, and you're also going to get your initials back. So that's exciting, I guess. But yeah, I would say probably don't look at the box score. I kind of regret opening up the box score. Oh, also, Ochai Agbaji went out in this game. It is funny too how McDaniels is there's 18 guys ahead of McDaniels now. So I think he's under contract for this year and next year. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But yeah, it seemed like, was that the metaphor I was going for earlier, where it seemed like he was running he was coaching. It was just throw sloppy inbounds passes. Don't look for the guy, creeping up. If you're the point guard, make sure, or a wing player, anybody above the break, if you're kind of over on the side and you're going to pass it to probably the point guard or Kelly in the center, make sure to telegraph the pass as much as possible. Make it as clear as day as what you're doing, so that the other team can intercept it and go down for an easy dunk, of which you don't really hustle back for. I also don't know if the Raptors got any points. Were the Raptors in transition in this game? I think maybe at the beginning there was a couple, but I don't know if they were. I mean, the Pelicans play really, really good defense too. You have to give them a ton of credit. And I think this is in a way, kind of like a therapeutic game, because the Raptors, during the pizza party era, people remember, you guys remember that? You guys remember the pizza party and Scotty still playing and, great times. But, if you watch, I watched Reed Shepherd's highlights. I watched Reed Shepherd's highlights against Mississippi, and I'm officially on Team Tank. So go watch that. I think he's up to number 4 though, so that might not be plausible. Cody Williams looks really nice. So if Reed Shepard's up to 4th, could mean Cody Williams could slide down to 5. Dillingham's kind of like he's like your Jalen Green of the draft. That's my Sam Vecini take. But yeah, he's like the mixtape guy. And he turns his hips like 140 degrees on his threes, and like I don't know. But yeah, people are always like, "Oh, the draft sucks. Who cares?" But then you go watch the tape of the players, and you're like, "Oh, that Topic guy is kind of like his posture is kind of odd. It's like, what's he? He's a Serbian guy, so maybe Darko's tight with him. There's some boards that have him first, which kind of seems crazy. Alex Sarr seems really good, but yeah, the Topic guy like." He's really smooth, but he's like deceptive. Like it doesn't look like he's gonna beat you, and then maybe that's just like a Balkan thing. A lot of Balkan players like that, where it's just like, oh wow, okay. Like Nurkic getting 31 rebounds. That only happens in the Balkans. Vegan Grass says. Do you just want to talk about like Chiang Mai and being a vegan? I'm back on the vegan thing now too. Went vegetarian for a little while, but now I'm back on vegan. I'm like 5 days without dairy. My body is starting to finally recover, and my throat, my sinuses are coming back. It's amazing. Trash Clip says, to put Trey Murphy's plus 44 tonight in perspective, OG's career high in a single game is 43. Yeah, I legitimately don't remember seeing plus 44 on a box score before. I don't think since the season has started. Maybe some stats person, any stats people. I think since like the first game of the year, I don't know if I've seen that so far this season. But yeah, I don't know if Scotty was at. Someone was asking if Scotty was at the game or not. I know the surgery just happened, so maybe he was all on like Vicodin or something, just vibing out. Hopefully he wasn't consciously watching this game. Hopefully he was nice and medicated, as I am, and as I'm sure a lot of people are. But hey, at the end of the day, Walter, at the end of the day, you're going to have your teams, you're going to have your picks, but at the end of the day, it's better to get a top 6 player than to have fun. Have a little fun, 23 games. He should have been in Heat. Mike Yermanchard in Heat would have been great. He could have been a cop or in De Niro's crew. My name is Neil. I'm reading about rocks. Lady, why are you so interested in what I do? The surgery was in LA, so probably not in the arena. Good point. That's where you go get surgery. Go to LA to get surgery. That's the place to go. I know when I was in Thailand, then I got off the plane. I had to get in this van. It's like half the people were there for some like elective surgery. So that would have been weird if Scotty went to Thailand for the surgery. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of weird, like, to see. Does anybody know watching Jordan Hawkins? Like, I thought that he was, because he didn't come until later in the game. I love sports that ignoring the Boucher chants. It's so North Korea. It's so just like I don't know. I think you're hurting the brand at that point, in my opinion. But I don't know. But yeah, like if you give up an 18-4 run, and then a few minutes later you give up a 17-5 run, it's like That's basically like what? Like that's almost like 40 to, it's like 40 to 10ish almost ish. My math, I need to, maybe this off season, what should I learn? Motion graphics and VFX a little bit, or math? Which one of the two should I learn? Gary Trent Jr. had a plus 54. I forgot about that. I don't remember that. Scramble says at the end of the day, it's just about at the end of the day, like Dennis say. I was doing a Mike Ehrmantraut voice. Was it that bad? Is my Mike Ehrmantraut that bad? Be honest with me. Is it that unrecognizable? Because I haven't invested time into it. I just kind of do it once in a while. At the end of the day, it is pretty bad. Scrambles, thank you for telling me that it sucks. I kind of knew the whole time. I kind of been haunted at the back of my mind that it's not that good. It's not that distinctive of a voice. What if I could do Gus? Probably can't do Gus. Probably don't want to try it for the first time here. I met somebody today who talked like Bob Odenkirk. Guy at the gym. I snuck into the gym today. Don't tell anybody. Pass is expired, but I figured out a way. I found a way in. Got it all worked out. Got all the logistics worked out. But yeah, don't look at the box score. Please do not look. Do a favor and please do not look at the box score. I mean the 3-point shooting, 29% for the Raptors, or sorry, 29.5. Round it up. Give them 30%. While the Pelicans give you 49% from 3, and the Pelicans also have 7 more shots. Probably that means they had more offensive rebounds. Yes, they did. I had some coffees to stay awake, so now I'm getting punished with some fucking burping into the microphone. Apologies to anybody on headphones. Maybe I need to bring Darko back in here, bring the Pelicans back in. Do you guys, I think, who do you guys want the Raptors to draft? I always get into March Madness. March Madness to me is kind of like Christmas. Like I always, like I get into it, but I don't get into it as much as I would like. And then I spend like 2 months depressed that it's over. Like I'm just getting over the fact that Christmas is over. Like I just put the tree away like yesterday. And March Madness is like always the same. It's always like I watch it like the first Thursday when it's just games all day. I'll just hunker down and watch that, like without reservation. And then sometimes it'll carry over into like a Friday, and then it kind of like tapers off a little bit over time. But I think this year I'll get more locked in because the Raptors have like half of the picks for this draft. But if they are in that if they do get the 6 range, so NBA draft board, who do you guys like at number 6? I don't know who's there right now, but let's check it out. Who's on the big board? Top Pitch is first on Tankathon, which is interesting. Sar third. So 6 would be Dillingham, 7 Jacoby Walter. Haven't watched. Yeah, so Reed Shepherd's at 4, Corey Williams is at 5. Those are the two that like I think are most intriguing in that area, and of course they've moved up to 4 and 5. So Raptors could potentially just miss them. I need to watch more Dillingham, Walter, Holland. With Dillingham, I'm a little bit like, I'm not writing him off or anything, or like nothing. It's not, honestly, it's like nothing against him even, but I always take those types of players like with a little bit of salt, grain of salt, like the Jalen Green. Just like, oh man, like swish highlight culture mixtape. This guy's shiftier. This is the shiftiest guy in America. Like those, I'm always like, what are the mechanics like? What's the IQ like? What's the passing like? Why does he turn his hips like he's doing fucking square dancing on threes? Like he's doing the I don't know. Has anybody ever watched Law and Order SVU before? I was listening to my favorite podcast, and like they did an episode on it, and it's like a show that I have like known about existing, but I've never watched it. And then listening to them talk about it, I want to watch some clips, and I can't believe it's on. It's like that and The Good Doctor. I can't believe The Good Doctor is on television. It's actually filmed here in Vancouver. My roommate was actually in it like as an extra, so I felt really bad because I think that's like her only film credit, and I was like, I don't know how this show's on television. She's like, oh, I'm in it. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, Law and Order SVU. Not only do I not know how it's on TV, but like it has been on TV longer than any other show other than like The Simpsons. Like it's on season 25. I think it's probably 90% culpable for QAnon existing. But there's one episode where it's called Conscience. It's like season 6. Kyle MacLachlan, he plays Trey in Sex and the City. He plays what's his name in Blue Velvet, the kid. But he's in Law and Order SVU, and they're in the courtroom, like they're in the hallways of the courtroom, and there's this little kid. He's like 12 years old, and Kyle MacLachlan, whatever, a fully grown man, fully like adult, sees this kid who sarcastically says like, I'm sorry or whatever, I feel bad for whatever crime or whatever. Kyle MacLachlan reaches into the cop. There's a cop next to him. This is in the courtroom. He reaches into the cop's gun holster, takes the cop's gun out of his gun holster, shoots the kid in the head. The kid dies, like in the courtroom. And then Kyle MacLachlan gets off because he pleads temporary insanity. This is the longest running show in America, in Joe Biden's America. Who, by the way, that man has to fucking pivot pretty soon, buddy. You better fucking pivot if you're gonna do anything. Should we just talk about that? Fuck, man, this game, man. I don't know. He's not gonna pivot. He's gonna pivot like Jordan Wara fucking pivoted in the against Brandon Ingram. Like he's not fucking pivoting. Shouts to everybody in the coconut tree. Where the coconut tree hive at? I don't think anybody knows what I'm talking about right now. I'm just rambling. 22 people watching. Why is anybody watching this? Pale Fox. I love that show. Talking about Law and Order SVU. To be honest, I'm not that surprised. I remember a lot of your comments. I actually remember. It's actually like I'm depressed at how much of the chat comments I remember, like over, because I have a photographic memory, which sounds cool, but it's actually I would trade it like. I honestly wish I could get a surgery to get rid of it, because I mostly just remember all the bad things. Like I just take pictures of all the negative things. But I do remember like every chat message. So yeah, Pale Fox, you've had a few like kind of weird comments. So I could see you being an SVU head. The subreddit for that show is wild. I was just going through and reading, and it's like people with an inner monologue enjoying the show. There's one scene where they goes like undercover into like a sex addiction place, and this guy's just like, if I don't have sex, I think I'm gonna die. And then he's like, my sexual like my turn on is like pinning a girl's forearms to like the wall, because my dad used to pin me or beat me, and he used to roll his sleeves up, and that would get really afraid of that, and now that like turns me on as like a sub. And so then Jeremy Irons, who's like running the therapy group on the SVU show, is like, it's like, all right, everybody, going to roll up our sleeves and commemoration of a sort of solidarity with a fellow addict. And they like roll up their sleeves, which wouldn't that be like the opposite thing that you would want to do in that situation? But then it was actually all a ruse because they just wanted the guy next to them to roll up his sleeves because they wanted to see his tattoo to see if he was like a criminal. So the guy just like made up this whole story about how he got turned on when people rolled their sleeves up. Great show. But yeah, so I think that's like most of the notes, you know. I still haven't had an answer, but what was the official? Were they boos? Were they groans? There was some audible noise at the end there. That's I'm kind of interested. Whoa. Kind of interested to go back and watch. It's the only part of the game I want to go back and watch just to see if the people were actually booing. Trash clips. They can't even blame the writer's strike anymore. Yeah, and I would say like I wouldn't even criticize because they're on season 25 right now. I think if you're on season 25, it's like I understand it being bad, but these are episodes. I'm talking about episodes from like season 6 and season 12, I believe. So I think season 12 was Stabler's last season. But yeah, it's also trippy how so the original Law and Order before SVU and The West Wing debuted 2 days apart. September 20th, 1999, September 22, 1999. So this is a stupid photographic memory shit. I don't think I've ever watched either show. Why do I know that? Why do I remember that? Any final thoughts? I think that's who's the I mean, all in all, you know, do you really want to see a play-in run without Scotty? I mean, it's like, I don't know. I'd rather just have the pick and have 21 games like this. But I think my only request would be I think the defense needs to be prioritized like a little bit more. Like I know the offense is really cool, you know, 800 assists a game, it's great, but the defense really just has absolutely fallen off of a cliff. And I think when you're developing, like you want to develop everything, you want to develop as much as possible, and I don't think you can just write defense off like they have. And again, we know Darko's the offensive coach. I don't really know what happens behind the scenes, but I've heard rumblings that Pat Delaney's kind of the defensive coordinator. So I don't really know what's like tonight. I don't know what he was coordinating, but he is, I believe, coordinating things. And yeah, you would just like to see more of an identity, more of a strategy. Like obviously, you're not going to play the same style of defense against every team, against every lineup. But there should be like some consistencies, some identities. Like what really is like. I mean, you look at the Pelicans. I mean, their identity is there is not a single place. And trust me. As someone who played high school basketball, trust me, there's nothing more annoying than being guarded like. I mean, not full court. Like full court, that is annoying. But it was for today. It was like I guess you could say full court when you've got Alvarado and like laying down in the corner on the inbound pass. But like, there is really nothing more annoying than just being picked up. Like honestly, if anybody ever plays against me like 5-on-5, I hate it. Just do it. If you want to take me out of the game, if you want to like minimize me, just start guarding me. I fucking hate it. I think everybody kind of does. Like that's kind of the one time where you kind of get your breath. You know, maybe you just got scored on. Maybe you just ran back in transition. That's kind of those first couple dribbles at least. You kind of get your bearings back. You take a breath. You see the floor. You start to think like, okay, Who do I have on the floor? Who do they have on the floor? What are we going to get into? What's the coach screaming at me about? You use that. It's like, how Precious, when he used to be when they tried to make him like a facilitator in the system, he would kind of take those 8 seconds on the perimeter to really like, scour this new land. That's kind of what you do in those first few dribbles, like as the person bringing the ball up. And if the second you catch the ball, you've got somebody right there, it just throws it off. It's just like annoying. You can't take that break because someone's coming for you, or someone's coming for the ball. And so it just kind of takes it may not seem like that much, but it is annoying. And it's not always sustainable or necessarily smart to do all game, because it's like, it takes a lot of energy to run I'm not saying they were running a press. Like, it's not a, like a full on fucking, like high school. You don't really see that in the NBA too much outside of, specific plays or once in a while maybe to throw things off. Maybe the Heat will fucking do it once in a while. But you don't really see the typical like high school press, because with strategic passing, I always drove my coach crazy because I always dribbled, I could say tried to dribble out of them. Dribbled or tried to dribble out of them, or pass out of them. But with smart, tactical awareness, you can kind of pass out of those pretty easily. And then if you do it properly, you have an advantage almost every time. So it's not a full like high school style press, but like they were running like almost like a 3/4 pickup, not quite a press, but it was like enough that you could tell the Raptors guards were annoyed. And then when they did get the ball into the half, there was like no transition for the Raptors in this game. And you could really see that with the assist numbers. Obviously, the Raptors score them, I think, more than any other team in transition. And this game today, the Raptors 21 assists. I mean, that's brutal. I don't know how many transition points they had. It didn't seem like much. And like just looking at like the bench assists, 0, 1, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0. So the bench, you got 5 assists from your bench in a 48-minute game. So you're probably not winning that game. Meanwhile, I mean, whatever, fuck. You look at the Pelicans bench, 2 assists, 1 assist, 4 assists, 6 assists for Alvarado. Jeez. They had, like, the bench had 10, 12, 15 assists. So the Pelicans bench had 15 assists. The Raptors bench had 5 assists. So, and while the starters did play pretty poorly, at least at the beginning of the game, it was like kind of a game. And it was really when the benches kind of came in that it just, I mean, they got Trey Murphy coming off the bench. They're definitely a deep team. Like Hawkins is like struggling to get minutes. And they got Cody Zeller on this team. Not that that's like depth, but it's just kind of random. But yeah, they got a deep team. Valanciunas 2 for 2 from 3. And like nobody on the for usually when you lose by like 41 points, I mean Trey Murphy getting 34, and then nobody else hit 20. There were no, like Trey Murphy with 34, and then not even a 20 burger. Like the next highest guy is 17, Herb Jones. Like Ingram had 12 points. Ingram and Zion combined for 28 points. I mean, and then you look at the Raptors. I mean, quickly with a Raptors high of 17. So yeah, they just really kill you from a bunch of different places. And yeah, they're one of the deeper teams, and obviously they're whatever. Who cares? I was gonna do a little like Pelicans. Their playoff success will depend on Zion doing whatever the fuck. I might just go watch Heat for the 27th time this month. Trash clips. The crowd was definitely booing at the end. Okay. I wasn't going crazy. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people paid to see that. You know, my Bally Sports membership costs less or more. I don't know. We hit an hour. Wow. I honestly, when I started this stream, I had no idea what. I was just like, let's just have like the audio fuck. Let's bring Darko in. Let's have me 17 times here. Let's just have some Pelicans. Some Pelican noise. I don't know if we had any Pelican noises. I could arrange that. But I was just originally going to do like question marks. I didn't even use a picture from the game. You know, any really dedicated people. This is, I think, the first time this year I haven't used an actual photo from the game in the thumbnail. I might change it after. Probably not, though. I don't really know. Go get halfway through Heat and I'll change the profile picture to something. Chris Boucher or something. I don't know. But I just really didn't know if I could make it past like 11 minutes. But we made it an hour. And I don't know why. Yeah. But probably I'm going to say this is the shot in the dark fourth worst loss of the season. I think the defense was that bad. The second quarter defense specifically was just, I don't know, man. Vegan Grass says Gary started 3 for 3 from 3, then 1 for 7 after. Yeah, that's the streakiness. Pretty, I don't know. There was a Eric Kareem piece. A lot of ly words, like ironically, additionally, canonically, I think, yeah. Sporadically. But yeah, he was talking about how the Raptors are in a tough situation now with the contracts for like Gary and I don't know, somebody else, I forget who. And it's like, do they keep him? What's going to happen with that? Do they leave for nothing? Was it Bruce Brown? I think it was Bruce Brown. Yeah, Bruce Brown and Gary. Like, what's the... I don't know. I wasn't smart enough to understand the article. I need stuff written for me. Like, I'm an Ernest Hemingway fan. I like stuff that's, like, really... Like, I'm dumb. Just, like, give it to me nice and easy. I get lost with the really purple prose stuff, especially when it has to do with, like, the cap. So I had no idea what it was about, but it was pretty scary. So go check that out. So yeah, Raptors lose by a fuckload. 139-98, 41-point loss. The next Toronto Raptors game is not tomorrow, but the Phoenix Suns. 6 p.m. my time. Oh, it's late. Oh, no. Are they on a road? Oh, fuck. Are they on a late game road trip now? I can't. I cannot do this. Even in West Coast time, like 6 p.m. start is crazy. 7 p.m. in Portland. I'm in bed I'll be sleeping by the third quarter. If I ever move to Toronto, I'm so fucking, I'm cooked. Like, I'm done. I cannot stay up late. Then they're Heat. Okay, so only 2 late games, I believe. Oh no, 3. They got Nuggets. 6, 7, and 6. God damn it! It's gonna fuck up my whole life. But yeah, a couple of videos coming out soon. Maybe even. Is that one ready yet? Probably is. I like to sit on videos. I'll finish a video and then I'll just sit on it for like 5 days. And sometimes I think of stuff and sometimes I don't, but kind of sitting on the CTV one where CTV called Scotty Barnes, or said that Scotty Barnes was from the GTA. Also, it was RJ Barnett and Toronto's NBA Raptors. That was a pretty incredible segment. So I think I have that one pretty much done. Got a little Nathan Fielder, a little Come Town, a little Parasite in that one. And then got a Tyrese Halliburton, Gary one coming out too that I think is pretty much done. Got a little, of course they were playing against each other. There's a really funny moment between them, and then they're both like NFT guys. So there's a lot of material for those guys, for them to kind of work with. Both really into NFTs, both into really crazy fits. And they just had a really funny on-court moment that was very audible on the Bally Sports Indiana. So that's coming out. I don't think there was really any moments from this game. The only thing I have for this game with like a star next to it was Larry Nance trying to scam Kelly Olynyk into a foul, which is really funny. But I can never hate Nance because he holds like the greatest sports suite of all time, which was someone asked him, is he the most famous guy from his high school? And he said, you would think so, but I don't know what I have to do to be more famous than Jeffrey Dahmer. It's fair. So yeah, always love. He's also great. I'm doing a commercial for him now, but he has like the best podcast voice, and he's actually really intelligent. Like he's actually really good on podcasts. I've really fallen, this is really hypocritical of me because I'm kind of doing it right now, but I've really fallen out of love with so many basketball podcasts. So many people are friends like with the people that they're like so many of these like analysts, like there was on Zach Lowe's show, Chime, I can't remember her last name, but Zach was just asking her like, you know, what have you seen? I know Damian Lillard erupted for like 41 points, but he was asking her like, what have you seen from, you know, Damian Lillard on the court, you know, because, you know, Zach Lowe throws all this like numbers and all this stuff. And like the first thing she says is, look, I'm friends with Dame. Okay, cool. And she's like, so therefore, she didn't say therefore, but she's like, I'm friends with Dame. So I think it's just the transition, you know, it's a new team and it's just taking time. It's like, why go on the podcast then? And I'm not saying you have to be like fucking Cat or like just throwing out insane clickbait stuff, but like if you're just like friends with everybody in the league and everybody's just like walking around on eggshells, like why the fuck am I listening to this? Like it's so fake. I mean, Zach Lowe has a lot of I think ESPN mandated guests. I think if anybody needs to be saved from ESPN, it's Zach Lowe. I mean, oh my God, just everything about that, like the way the podcast is edited, the guests, he really needs like his own. He takes so many shots at ESPN, which is the only reason not the only reason I do like him for the most part, but he takes so many shots at ESPN, kind of like Alex used to do for Sportsnet. But you really have to be like, you have to be like on the frequency to get it, which Alex was kind of like that too, where it's like, if you're just like tuning into it, you're probably not going to pick up on it. But man, he like, if you really kind of read between the lines and read under what he's saying, Zach does definitely take, like he'll talk about like ESPN, you know, he's like, oh, you know, my bosses wanted me to get rid of this table. They said the table wasn't nice enough for the stream. So, you know, I have to listen to my bosses. I had to get rid of my table. Or, you know, ESPN, you know, we only want to, you know, producers only want to talk about the Lakers. So I got to talk about the Lakers. So we're not going to talk about the Lakers. Like he does kind of say the quiet part out loud about like the producers are telling us to talk about this. The producers are, so that's why I listen to it. And, I know the Ringer Union is having a moment right now, but I would honestly like, and honestly, I don't know. Bill has kind of fallen off a little bit in terms of like his just, you know, all in all. But I think a podcast that's like specifically dedicated to like the media, like like those two would be great. They have good banter and riffs too, but just kind of like a podcast like about sports media. And I think you can do it without, the Patrick Beverley cat type of thing where you're just like lobbing bombs. I know aggregators are fucking annoying as shit. By the way, if you're starting out in like sports, whatever, just do news aggregation. That's what I would do. There is an r/Bill Simmons podcast about the Bill Simmons podcast. It's very critical about him and the podcast, and it just like takes notes on the his ads and his ad reads and kind of under a microscope. It's actually pretty funny. It's actually a really good idea because like it opens the to have the bigger conversation about like sports media and the NBA media, and having to rank everything. Always has to be ranked. Like I don't even like comparing. Like I never compare players. I just like the most boring thing ever to me, unless there's like a reason to, like a trade, or they're on the same team and they're trying to get they're competing for minutes, or a playoff series where there's lots of like adjustments and stuff. But like just in general, just that whole approach to it is just so fucking boring. I think some people like it. Some people are really into it, like that Keyshawn guy on ESPN or whatever, who's just like, I don't know if he's still on ESPN, but like he would just start every conversation being like, look, I'm a former NFL player. I don't really watch the NBA, but like this is a show about the NBA, and like that's what ESPN is like putting out there. I think like ESPN I think they just need to like, I think like Stephen A. Smith has been really smart. I wonder how many like Gen Zs are on his social media team, because he's just like retweeting like Pokemon and cars and stuff. Like when he did the cars one, I was like, oh, that's so funny and like that's so original. But then after like the 17th one, I was like, oh, he's just got like a factory of Gen Z people being like, oh, this is trendy, talk about this. And it's kind of lost its cachet a little bit for me. But I do think that ESPN should just like lean into that a little bit. But they're owned by like Disney now, aren't they? They're not going to do any fucking thing. They need like there needs to be like Masterclass is funded by, it's all VC guys who did Masterclass, and they made dildos before that. So they switched from dildos to energy drinks and then to Masterclass. But they need like a Masterclass or like TEDx course for like people over the age, not even just boomers, but like Gen X as well. Like anybody over the age of like 42, there needs to be like a course for like, because I think Gen Z has like fried everyone's brains, and it's not even their fault. It's just that they grew up online. They're like the dominant culture now. They're like who marketers want to reach. So much of the content and attitude is like geared towards them. And I think for a lot of people who are like over 42 and didn't grow up extremely online, I think it's almost been harder for them to kind of, I think it's fried a little bit more. I think that's why, like, you get more people who are like into Q and shit who are like in their 40s. They didn't grow up. They didn't have the privilege of growing up on 4chan forums when they were like having their frontal lobes developing. So they're later in life and they're like a secretary or something, and they see that, people are eating children, and they're like, oh, and back to Law and Order SVU. There's just, some people are just attracted to, remember Nancy Grace be like, another baby has been found in a barrel or in a trash wasteland, and if I was a mother, I would be blah blah blah. And I think people just, if you're watching Law and Order SVU or like Judge Judy or whatever, let's be honest, you're just watching it because like you're like, at least I'm not doing that, at least I'm not. That's why a lot of like far right people watch Nazi documentaries. Or like, at least I'm not, at least it's not like that much. At least I'm not in it that deep, but maybe they are. What are we talking about here? You want to go back to the box score? What's going on in the chat? Explore car. I miss Alex. Yeah, man. It's tough. It's really tough. They did, by the way, I guess I'll do a commercial for it. Him and Will did record a Stephen LeBron radio episode. 2 weeks ago. It was a banter pod, and you know, I guess now that I'm doing a commercial, you can find many shows from like 2019 with like him and Will talking about movies and stuff. A little more laid back, but yeah, it's. I thought about reaching out and maybe getting him on here to talk about the relaunch of Stephen LeBron and the banter pod, and I feel kind of bad because, how do I say this? I was very adamant that I was right about Sportsnet, and I think I was. But I also think maybe I didn't really value. This is just me. This is like my own self-sabotage. This is like why I haven't reached out to ask him probably. But I think like, because when it was announced that he was leaving, I don't have any inside information. I actually, like, I didn't ask them about it. And even if I did, like, I don't know. That's just like not, I don't know. I'm not like a Ramona Shelburne. I'm not going to be like, you know, try to get like a page 6 story. But I saw that happening a long time ago. I posted about it on Reddit and got absolutely destroyed on the Toronto Raptors subreddit like 2 or 3 years ago for posting or 2 years ago. It was like the day that they got the job at Sportsnet. I was like, yeah, I'm worried that Sportsnet's going to like corporatize their brand and like step on their creative ideas and stuff. And then people are like, you're fucking crazy. Like, this is the greatest opportunity in the world. And you're, you know, fuck you. And, you know, with my photographic memory, I do remember probably, you know, may remember certain Reddit users who I might still remember them. But yeah, I kind of, I don't know if I gloated, but I guess I put it out there. I think I too aggressively put it out that like I called it, you know, because I don't really call things that much. Like I don't predict games. I don't bet on sports. I don't make predictions like in my content. I come from the stock market world, which if you make the wrong prediction, you end up like Brick Muse. People post your home address. So I kind of like learned through the, you know, the trenches of that. So I don't really like do that type of stuff. But I was kind of like, I did kind of predict that, but then I thought about it more recently and I'm like, it did last 2 years. They were able to be pretty creative. Although it, like, if you listen to it at the level I was listening to it at, because like, I haven't had a data plan in, you know, like years. I don't even have a cell phone right now. I had to get a cell phone to, what do you call it? Activate this YouTube channel, like to get it monetized. I had to get a cell phone. I didn't have it. Like you have to have, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time hours, I think, a verified email and a verified phone number. So I had to I had 3 out of the 4 for like the longest time. I was like, all right, I'll just fucking do it. Got a cell phone, smashed it like a few days later playing basketball, and I don't think I've had one since, but I would just use like an old phone without data. I don't think it had a phone number either. And I would just download the banter pods and like I would just listen to them, you know, maybe 6-7 times sometimes, or the old Stephen LeBron radio episodes. Like they were always like fresh to me. You know, they're so long that you can just kind of forget what happened in them. You know, taking the ferry over to Vancouver Island, you know, walking to go play basketball. There's basically the only 2 activities that I do. So yeah, it's I was hopeful though, because I sent Will like an idea of like a Stephen LeBron video, where I was gonna like, I don't really want to give that away, but he kind of reassured me of like, don't worry, like you know, don't worry about it, you know, kind of like. So I was kind of reassured from that, and then 4 days later they dropped the banter pod the other week, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I might go on another Sportsnet TSN cleanse. But then they also saved me back in 2020, so I'm kind of conflicted. Okay, we got some new comments here. Trash clips. Everything has to be tied into gambling now. Yeah. Do you guys remember that like dude that Bet Rivers brought in like one time for one segment on Sportsnet and then he disappeared? He's in the thumbnail for the Bet Rivers video that I made. I think that's probably my favorite. I think my the only two Raptor moments, like episodes that I can watch without getting like embarrassed for myself, are the Bet Rivers one and the Norman Powell gets attacked by a cougar in Vegas. Those are the only two. Those are the only two. I believe it's called Bet Rivers Dominates the Broadcast. It was like, I think it was the first game that Bet Rivers did the like, we're taking up 95% of the screen type ads, and they kept fucking them up like the first couple games. So I made a video about that one, and then Norman Powell just randomly getting attacked by like this racist, drunk, extremely sunburnt cougar in Vegas. Those are the only two episodes I can watch and not like want to throw up. But yeah, does anybody remember that? So that Bet Rivers guy, he's in the thumbnail of that video. And I just like forgot where, like, I don't know where he went. Don't know what happened to him. Maybe we can find him in. Did I put him in the I think I'm gonna put him in the video. Let's try to, because I I didn't actually end up making the David Johnson documentary. I have all the footage for the David Johnson documentary. I just like never ended up making it. And then David Johnson, like I went on this whole crazy like 3-day trip, taking like trains, buses, cars, like, trying to find David Johnson. And yes, my dog's paws are extremely loud on the microphone. It's an echo chamber. When you live in a city and there's like concrete and wooden floors. So I think making a documentary about finding the Bet Rivers guy could be crazy, because he was only there once and then he just like disappeared into thin air. Why would that work? I would love to track him down. That would be great. It would be great if the thing I was trying to do worked, but it's not. So, let's go back to Pelicans. But yeah, does anybody remember the Bet Rivers guy? He had like a really sexy suit on. He was he was very confident. He was very enthusiastic. He was very into gambling, or at least had the vibe of someone very into gambling. And I don't know, maybe he was just too over the top or something, but he just disappeared into thin air and no one has seen him since. So, yeah. Phase B, thoughts on the recent Stephen LeBron radio pod? Yeah, it was great. My only complaint is I didn't get mentioned in it randomly, so that's my only complaint. But yeah, it was a great listen. I should probably hit it again. I listened to it twice, but I haven't listened to it a third time, so maybe I should go hit it up a third time. But yeah, I think Sportsnet just never got it. I'm always conflicted on like how much to say in these situations, but I don't think Sportsnet ever got it. And now it just breaks my heart seeing on Twitter they're posting with like capital letters and stuff. His legacy is they're just flushing his legacy down the drain. These capitalized words. It's really sad to see. I just don't think they understood what they had. And like, Alex talked about wanting to do a Raptors show, which was a show after the show. Like Alex's whole like thing, he likes the magic trick that he pulls on people though. So I don't want to expose the magic. You know? I kind of do, but I don't want to expose the magic. He has this way of, I can recognize it because I do it too. How should I put this? Like, yeah, the dog is loud, man. It's a staple of the show. But yeah, he does this thing where, so he talked multiple times about like the Raptors show. He started the Twitter account. That was like his idea, and it's been really successful. He actually had a weekend show. Like, I don't know if people remember this, but he had his own show on Sportsnet on Saturdays. So it was like him and Will, I believe, every day. Maybe he was off for one day, but I think at the beginning it was him and Will Monday to Friday for an hour, and then he was on Saturdays for an hour. I don't know if people remember this. This was early on, and they canceled it. Sportsnet canceled it in March of 2022. So the Raptors show actually started the same month that Raptor Moment started. The same month, same week, maybe even. So it's kind of the timelines had always kind of tracked next to each other. So they took that away in March, and again, I don't have any inside knowledge on this. I never ask these types of questions like, hey, like what did your boss say? Like, I would never. I don't know. I'm just not. That's like. I only want to, like, I talk with them, but it's like, you don't want to just bombard them with dumb shit, you know? I think that's kind of true for anybody, but when people are kind of like ahead of you in the food chain or whatever, you don't want to ask them 40, like sometimes I'll send Will like, hey, here's the 17 places in Argentina I'm looking at. And he doesn't reply. I'm like, why the fuck did I send that? But for the most part, it's like, cause he went to Buenos Aires for like 2 weeks. So, but yeah, just watching the show, after his Saturday show got canceled, he was like visibly really upset on the show. This was in March 2022, and he made like probably 4 or 5 kind of sarcastic comments about like not being valued. But it was done in a way where like, he doesn't just come out and beat you over the head with it, which is why I enjoy that kind of style, and why I don't want to. It's kind of like the Nathan Fielder thing. It's like once you realize the Nathan Fielder formula, I think for some people it can kind of make it, I don't know if it's less funny, but more predictable, I guess, which maybe in turn makes it less funny. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, you could really tell that like he was not happy. And so obviously, it's pretty clear from that it was Sportsnet that pulled the plug. And then it wasn't 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later. Why did I say that like Trump? 3 weeks later. Alex, many people have said, he's a great guy. Many people, a lot of my people, they're saying, Alex, where is he? Do you think Biden's tuning into their banter pods? Just be like, I think it's too many topics for him. He would just overload the circuit. But he started a podcast right after that, with the dude named CJ Toledano, who is a comedian. No disrespect to him, but I was kind of waiting for the jokes. But he's a comedian, and it was a show on NBA fashion. It was a good show, actually. Like, I actually listened to every episode. It wasn't funny, but it was a great show. And it's about something that I don't really care about that much, but it was a great show because it was different. It was unique, and Alex was on it. It's called Running the Break. I don't know why it was called Running the Break. Because it was like a show about what shoes Russell Westbrook was wearing, what vest this guy was wearing, what T-shirt Alex picked up at the vintage shop. Great show. Go watch if you want Alex content. Go listen to Running the Break. It was on. It's on for a little bit, but it didn't last. I don't think it lasted more than a year, but it was on for a little bit. But he did that show 3 weeks after his Saturday gig with Sportsnet was up, and he did it on iHeartRadio, which is owned by Bell, TSN. Again, this is just stuff this is not any like, this is not some inside scoop or whatever. Like, this is stuff that you can pick up if you're kind of following it. So I think kind of from pretty close to the beginning, I just don't think they got it. Like, I don't, and in a way, like you can blame them, but you can't. I made the point so many times, if you go on Sportsnet's website, which, by the way, I don't know if other people have noticed this, but when they post the stream, like the stream on the Sportsnet website on Twitter, it'll be like alternate stream. I'll click on it and it'll just be like a Blue Jay show from like 1 to 4 or something, my time, or 11, whatever, my time, or it'll be like Leafs or something. They got taken off of YouTube when the Leafs made the playoffs, but the Raptors were still playing, and like, I don't know. I think Sportsnet has made it like difficult to like watch the content, like difficult to access it. But yeah, it's just, I don't think they understood the chemistry and like the brand and the vibe and stuff. And like, you can see that from just the graphics. Like, I've pointed this out on Twitter that the Raptors show like logo is completely different than all the other Sportsnet shows are navy blue with like a college football font or like a corporate font. It'll be like navy blue on baby blue on white or something. Like the LA Clippers new logo, everything looks like that. The new logo, the new LA Clippers logo, which I don't know why, but when I first saw it, it just reminded me of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Don't know why, but and then you've got this like Raptors show that's like purple and kind of street art and stuff. Just looks so different, and it's because Sportsnet didn't design that one. They went out and did it. They went out and chose the music. They started the Twitter account. Yeah. I will never forgive certain Redditors for dunking on me on that post, man. I don't forget. I do not forget. But I also was maybe a little too aggressive with the, like, I called it. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, it is Alex's decision, but again, not spewing dirt on anything. I don't know any of this information. I just don't really think, like, they were able to do quite a bit kind of in normal, legacy media terms, but the banter pod is, like, I think kind of what they really are like, and the show itself was so different than that. And I don't know if that's like being in a studio or having like producers and stuff, but it just didn't really seem to like fit, and 100% of that is Sportsnet. Like, they did nothing. I don't think Will and Alex, like, I don't know, but like, I think they went above and beyond, and like, Alex jokes about being lazy and all this stuff. He went out of his way to try to make extra content, and they said no. They said no to the Raptors show, which I thought about starting myself, just like breaking down the show. That's too loser behavior, but that's too fanboy behavior. I can't stoop that low. We hit an hour and a half on this thing. Explore Car. Lou agreed to become corporate. Alex no longer fit the mold. I don't know if it's that black and white. I think that's just more Will's personality. Like, he'll just go with things a little bit more. I think Alex is more like, just, and they're open about that. I think Alex is like he's said, multiple times, and this is also why I kind of felt a little bit bad, because he's talked a lot about, especially on the older Stephen LeBron radio episodes, about how important it was to like that he managed his own time, that he was in charge of his own schedule and stuff. So I think he is a little bit, and he had contract negotiations which kind of dragged out. So I think he's a little bit more like, I'm not going to do that thing, So I think I don't think it's like, oh, one got corporate and one didn't. I wouldn't look at it like that. Alex used to do How Hungry Are You? Yeah, he has a pretty incredible resume. Obviously, he's written books. Vegan Grass, Sportsnet is catering to the more casual sports fans, sadly. Yeah, and I don't think they have to. And fuck. So this video one of the videos I'm working on, the CTV one, I do have this section that I have kind of sitting on the side of like, I don't know if I'm going to put it in the video. It's already like a 4-minute video, and it kind of like derails it a little bit, but it's also just looking at how poorly TSN and Sportsnet have performed. Like they, like TSN and CTV, because it's about CTV, but like, going into the numbers a little bit, but then I don't know, that's a little boring, it's not really my thing either. But like the Raptors have gone from being valued, the Raptors value in 2013 was 425 million Canadian. It's now over 5 billion Canadian. That's 1,194% more. TSN has become less valuable in that period of time. That's all you have to know. So sure, they want to cater to the casual fan. That's great, but there's a lot of room for shows on top of that. You've got fucking Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet 1, Sportsnet Plus. You got TSN. You got all these fucking channels and shit. Why are you doing MLB top 30 highlights? Put that on YouTube. God, these fucking companies. Anyways, Diggus McGee says, please do that. I love the analysis threads on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, it's only like probably a 40-second section, which doesn't seem like much, but in a 4-minute video, it is kind of a lot. But yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings too about like all the layoffs that they do. It's more, I think people are wrong at the wow, I'm losing it. People are mad at the wrong thing, I think. Like there's misdirected, like when, Bell Media is like, oh, we're firing 10,000 people for our annual like mental health month or whatever. You can get mad at that, and I get that. But the bigger problem is that the people in charge made the wrong decisions. They made the wrong business moves. They invested in the wrong media, the wrong mediums, the wrong media, the wrong people. That's what it tells you. Sure, the firings are bad, but trust me, if those companies, like they always, God, it's so annoying too how, when they do these mass layoffs, the press release is always like, oh, well, it's, we're doing this so that we can pivot. It's always a pivot. We're pivoting to, newer technologies and more efficient ways. And, we don't really see the viable, radio, for example, or, the sports people who know a little bit about every sport, all that kind of, like the generalists, like that stuff kind of gets weeded out. But then they tell their investors in their pitch decks and in their MD&As and their management circular documents about the great thing, the great capital that is now at their hands, the extra money that they can now give out to their shareholders in the form of a dividend, or just more market cap. Fuck it, rocket the stock to the moon. Wall Street loves that type of shit. Hey, you fired whatever amount of people. That's great. That means your payroll is less, which means you have more cash on hand, which means you can do more risky shit. But my problem is they don't do that risky shit. They don't do what they say they're going to do. They lie. When the Leafs go to the playoffs, they shut down the Raptors show YouTube stream because they don't know how to fucking stream 2 shows at once. I'm not kidding. It's TSN uploading. They probably deleted it, but I have screenshots of it. Uploading YouTube shorts, like in the short format, like in the vertical on the main feed with like 800 views or something. They haven't even niched down. Like, I mean, go on forever about this. Like say TSN, for example, they have all these subscribers. They're like, a lot of their like deeper analytics are so bad. like views per subscriber ratios, just like engagement metrics are like horrible. Like this shitty YouTube channel in terms of like views to subscribers was like thousands of % higher than TSN's because it's so general. They haven't niched down at all. It's just TSN. They don't have like, so then the audiences aren't dedicated, and so it's such a mess. Like yeah. I could talk about this forever, but yeah, might need another detox. Raptors over everything. Oh yeah, their old show on Yahoo. I think it's still on YouTube. Run it back. What's Raptors over? I don't know. Vegan grass. YouTube isn't their focus. That's the problem. Yeah, and the reason that YouTube isn't the focus is because they can't make money on it. Or they think they can't. They're not thinking correctly. I can't really make money on YouTube. I don't have people working for me. I don't have a big following. I don't have the apparatus. I don't have the resources. They do. They could actually create, like, I mean, I probably could too if I worked at it a little bit more, cared about it a little bit more. But like the position that they're in with investors, with all this, with their, companies losing value, I haven't seen that innovation that you would hope, and something like YouTube, for example, that's such a long tail thing that they're like missing out on. At least they're putting their shows on YouTube now. They weren't for a little while there. And they just wanted more cable subscriptions. They thought that like, and no one's told me this, I'm just kind of, I breathe the air, taking the show off YouTube and then being like, hey, go watch it on Sportsnet Plus 360 or whatever. Like, go find a television somewhere and go, like, and everything's on the Sportsnet radio network. The radio network? When you guys are firing people, the annual mass layoffs, like 70% of it is radio. Why how have you not like pivoted even your corporate messaging? When Alex did come on this channel last year, I'm kind of mad I didn't do this. I should have. I think he would have really got a kick out of it. I was going to print the Rogers employee like corporate manual, like the instructional manual on like how to be a Rogers employee. I was going to print that out. You can find that. I should post that on Twitter. It's actually kind of funny. I think every big company has that. I don't think it's like that unique, but I just thought that would be a really funny, like, like a physical document to have and to be like, okay, like we need to make sure we're not breaking rule 116(3)(a). You know, can't talk about this, can't talk about that. Yeah, you know, can't say this, can't say that. There's a lot of that shit, man. But yeah, I think an hour 44 for this game is fucking too long. Apologies to everybody for that. Any last words? Any final thoughts? Raptors lose by like 100 points against the Pelicans. They got a West Coast road trip coming up, so sleep schedules